Good morning.
Good morning. 오늘 어디세요?
Beautiful garden. 오클랜드에서 남쪽으로 1시간 30분 거리에 살고 있는 토니 마키오니. 그는 한국 전쟁에서 전사 후 시신을 수습하지 못한 유일한 뉴질랜드군 법 마키오니의 동생이다. 그는 참전 용사 못지않게 모든 행사에 적극적으로 참여하고 돕고 있다.
Next thing to do, Tony, is to prune. Cut way back, just leave the main ones in. Plenty lemons. Make lemon drink, good for you. When you have a cold, very good.
토니의 큰형 존, 둘째 형 봅은 해군으로 다 같이 한국전에 참전했다. 봅의 동생 토니에게 어린 시절 이야기를 들어본다.
Let's take that time. When I went for a trip to Korea first time, I presented that to Sue. You can take as many photos as you like. From Consul General Auckland for the Korean vets wine. Yeah. Members, every Korean vet got 2 bottles for Christmas, but I'm keeping, haven't drunk yet. This is a early photo of the family. That's my elder sister Dorothy. This is my eldest brother John. Then Robert, or Bob as he was called, who were both in the Navy together. And this one down here with a scone in his hand and crying is Tony, that's me, and my younger sister at the time, Verla. Now this was taken, I was born in 1933. That is our eldest sister Dorothy. Next is John, who was in the Navy with Bob. That's Bob or Robert. Then there's me, Tony, the nice looking one. And then my younger sister, Verla. And this was taken in approximately, I think about 1935, was it? I think so. This is Bob here, taken at Taihape Primary School in 1939, and he was in Primer 3 at that time. And this is John. That's John, the eldest brother, and that was Bob up there. Yeah, 1939. That's John, who was away in Korea in the Navy on the Tutira. Bob away in Korea on the Rotoiti. From the early days in Taihape up to about 1940, I don't remember too much because I was only about 1940. I was 7 years when we moved to Utiku, because my father worked on the railway and he was transferred to Utiku, which is a little village about 7 kilometres south of Taihape on the main highway and on the main railway. And there, as young kids, we climbed plum trees. We went down to the local meeting of the waters, which was the Hautapa River and the Rangatiki rivers where they met. We used to swim there in the summertime and walk the 4-5 kilometres back home to the railway house. But Bob was very athletic. He loved running. He loved rugby. Anything to do with sport, Bob would be the first. And he was good. He represented the Navy in not only in boxing but in athletics and long distance running. But at 15, Bob left. He went to high school from Moodycoo, which was only went up to standard 6 or Form 2. He went to high school for a year, then he left school and joined, worked in the blacksmith shop, learning how to shoe horses, to make horseshoes. Anything to do with animals, he was happy. Later on, he had his own dog, he had his own horse, because we had a few acres of railway land that Dad was able to graze the horse on. And we had 5 cows that we used to milk, and all us boys used to have a turn at milking. But Bob eventually left the blacksmith work and went to a friend who had a sheep and beef farm, and he became a stockman or a shepherd on the farm until he turned 17, when him and my eldest brother John decided they want to see the world. So what did they do? They joined the Navy. So at 17, they went to Auckland and joined the Navy, and in 1950, at the outbreak of the Korean War, John volunteered and served on the HMNS Two-Tierer, and in July he set sail for Korea. This is Bob after he went into the Navy, and this is one of the, taken I think out of Tamaki, and it's in one of the, I think it was the long distance running, which he always, as I said, took part in anything like that. In the boxing, representing the Royal New Zealand Navy and the inter-services competition that they had between the Navy and the Army, etc., the Air Force. And this is Bob's fiancée, Val, who lived in Auckland. He got engaged just before he went to Korea. And this is taken at Utiku, the little place that I mentioned before, the little village. My mother in the middle, my oldest brother John, who was on the two-tierer beside him, and there's Bob, or Robert. And once again we come down here, there's Bob at the railway house in Utiku when he come home on leave prior to going to Korea. He's got a pipe in his mouth there. And here he is with his fiancée, and that's the fiancée's mother. And once again Bob and his fiancée. There he is as a young guy, before he went into, just before he went into the Navy. He's probably around about 16 there. This is Bob when he was in the Navy boxing team. And that's him in there. And that's once again representing the Navy services. And on leave in Auckland, this is all before, of course, he left for Korea. And there he is there. And here is on the Rotowiti. All these ones are taken on the Rotowiti over in Korea waters. Once again, this one is in Tamaki. This is the HMS Rotowiti. This is when they were learning or training for their raids on the east coast of, on the west coast, I should say, of North Korea, just above Seoul, on what they call the cigarette route, where they used to do their patrolling in the frigate. There he is at the helm, playing his part there, and here in the mess with his shipmates. And this is
This
Bob there, yeah. And this is the HMS Rotowiti rugby team. 1950-51, this photo was taken in Japan. Awarded a special certificate for his athletic prowess over in there. It may have been a passing out of parade. It must have been just before they went to Korea anyhow. Just 19 never came back from a raid on North Korea gun positions. It's all included in Ian McGibbon's book. It's quite a nice write-up there. And they both seen each other, met up at Sasebo, Japan, just before John was due to come back again. So John was the last one to see Bob. Yeah. And that's a good photo of Bob, just how I can remember him. Yeah. So that's our memories. Fond memories, but sad at times. But he won't be forgotten. Well, Hamilton, the city up here. Auckland up here, Tauranga over there, and down here, on a good day you can see Mount Ruapehu, just the top of it. The city up here, and the stadium over there, the rugby stadium, the cricket stadium is just back here a bit.
Good view.
It's a good view, isn't it? Yeah,
Sure.
Very good view. Yeah. Which one? Diane's. And that's Tony's. Because we grew up in a little country village, only about 300 people, so everyone knew everyone. We all used to go down to the river to swim, and we all played out. My brother loved horses and dogs, and he always had a dog. He'd get a dog, buy one, or one of the farmers would give him a dog, and he loved working on farm, like all animals. And he only joined the Navy because our brother-in-law, who was in the Second World War in the Navy, had married my sister, and he kept telling the boys it was a good life and they could see the world, so they joined. And it was in 1949 he joined. And the same time, John and Bob both joined at the same time. And I've got that in my little talk this afternoon. I can be it to you. But we had, when he'd come home from the Navy on leave, back in 1949, 1950, he loved boxing. And he would want me to go out on the lawn, on the grass with him, have box. And I used to get wild because he'd hit me too hard. And I didn't, no more, no, come on, no, shake on. And he loved all sports, running, boxing, rugby, and he was good. He was good at sports. And he had a nice singing voice. He could sing too. Very popular with the girls. More popular than I was. Yeah. But
So he tells us.
John, our other brother, the eldest brother, he was very quiet, different altogether from Bob and I. Bob and I were very similar in lots of ways. It was only 15 months between Bob's age and mine. Bob was born in 1933 in April, and I'm sorry, 1932 in April, and I was born in 1933 in September. So it was only 15 months or more between us. So we were very close. Yeah. But May and I were so thrilled when we went back our last trip to Busan and seen how beautiful all that row of plaques and laid out and looked after so beautiful at the United Nations Cemetery there. It was really wonderful.
보배 동생 토니, 참전용사 데이비드, 그리고 짐은 형제 이상으로 친하게 지내고 있다. 그러나 이제 이들 참전용사들의 공식 모임도 더 이상 힘들어지자 모처럼 세 사람은 함께 만나 옛날 얘기를 하기로 했다. 캠브리지에 살고 있는 짐 뉴만을 찾아가는 길이다.
Are you?
Hello, James.
Yes.
How are you, my dear?
Here's Diane.
Thank you. How are you, love? Good to see you.
Oh, indeed.
No, well, I bought it in case.
Bye-bye.
That's the garden for you, Tony.
Sorry, my father took that off Mount Tierra in 1927.
about that?
And it's been split several times, but that's my section of it.
What is it?
It's a king fern.
King fern. Oh,
King
that's
fern.
nice.
Yes. But that's so it's pretty ancient.
열일곱 살에 한국전에 참전한 짐 뉴만. 참전 용사 중 가장 어린 나이로 꼽히고 있다. 그는 전국 뉴질랜드 한국전 참전 용사회의 회장을 지내기도 하는 등 많은 활동을 했다.
Come in, folks. Turn some lights on for a start. Here's all my Korean stuff, and this is. The Admiral gave me that one, and the ship's captain gave me that one.
John.
But this is the one. That's just a beautiful one. And I'll get it out. The captain of one of the ships gave me that.
It really is a pride and joy, and deservedly so.
Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
I like gardening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
Spinach, etc.
no tomato plant won't grow much further.
Prolific. Gosh. Truly laden, isn't it?
Yep.
Truly laden.
I tried one the other day from here.
Yeah.
They're still too sour.
한국전쟁 1129란 책이다. 1950년 6월 25일부터 1953년 7월 27일까지 1129일간 전투가 계속됐다는 뜻이다. 짐 뉴만은 한국 정부로부터 감사패 등을 여러 개 받았고 잘 복원하고 있다.
Ken, he died the other day. A couple of
Would you
weeks.
shoot you?
That's me.
Ah, okay.
The best looking one.
Yes, you're definitely.
Pat's, my sister's gone, and this is the only two left.
Just you and your brother.
Yeah.
105.
105.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And the next one looks like a modified 40mm or something.
It's 40mm. It's a Bofa.
Both. Gee, but that's still a big
Yeah.
show, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Now, if we have a reunited Korea, who is going to be the dominant partner? Is it going to be Kim Jong, or is it the current president of South Korea? South Korea economically is miles and miles ahead of North Korea. It's also much greater in population, industrial capacity, everything else. The only thing that it's smaller than North Korea is in its armed forces. North Korea has, I think, the second or third largest standing army in the world. Why does she need such an enormous army if she is genuine to wanting Korea to be unified again? Now, compassion, human compassion, is an important thing that comes in. The families that were torn apart by the war, a few have had exchange visits, but very few. But a lot of those families that were torn apart have since died or are now elderly people. We were all young when we went to the Korean War.
That's right.
We were, Jim's case, 17. The rest of us, we were 20, 21, 22. We're now old men in our 80s and 90s. Similarly, the same thing has happened to the Korean people. They probably not lived as long as us because the privations, starvations and the problems of those that were residing in North Korea, not by choice but by force of circumstance in the war. So we now come back and looking realistically at reunification. Is that what we want? Would it be for the betterment of the Korean people as a whole, or will it be to the advantage of North Korea?
I went on the same. We did another trip ashore. We took our lifeboat and put about 15 people in it, and then went into the North Korean area, landed the party. They went in and had a look around. They didn't see anybody, but they came back. But we went in there, stayed there for about half an hour while the armed people went in and had a quick look around to see what was going on. Couldn't find anybody, so they came back to the ship, back to the boat rather, and we took them back to the ship. But Bob went on a similar thing, but they had a small party with guns, and they went in alongside there was a kind of a hill, and they went around this way to have a look at that hill, and that's where they met the opposition.
And he said, we knew that we were, by dragging Bob with us and trying to carry him, we were going to get caught. So he said, some big rocks on the beach. He said, put them down there, and we quickly put a bit of sand and threw a couple of rocks because we thought we'll come back tomorrow and retrieve the body, and that's what they were going to do.
This is a photo of the crew of HMNZS Hawea, which went to Korea in 1951 and came back in 52, I think it was.
Nice little flags up there.
Yep.
And the War Memorial of Korea. It's a massive building. Huge building.